like to call the meeting for the Warren Board of Health to order at 4:04 p.m. on February 24th, 2026. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast by our local cable access channel, WCAT, Facebook, and YouTube. If anyone in the audience is recording, please let us know. First up on the agenda today is the Village Market Tobacco Permit.
So I have,
Yeah, just state your name and...
sure, my name is Jody Briganti, and I am an inspector with the Tobacco Control Alliance. So Joan just gave me some information that I guess the board had requested from a previous meeting. And in regard to the public information request with the Department of Revenue, Joan spoke with an Anna Alvarado Baptista. She's with the Audit Division Tax Examiner. I have a telephone number here if anyone would like it. And she checked the database for applications for the October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2026 tobacco licenses under the name of a business, owner and account name, street address, West Warren, and both Warren and West Warren zip codes. She said that they could not verify the attached permit because there was no application submitted, permit issued, or any documentation at DOR for the permit presented to the Board of Health by Village Grill and Market, 2240 Main Street, West Warren. The date effective of May 22nd, 2024, and expired September 30th, 2025. She confirmed that all tobacco permits expire on the even year. She had the documentation for the current application dated December 18th, 2025 to expire September 30th, 2026, and she offered to send that one, and Joan told her that that was not necessary because we had a copy and can verify in the database ourselves.
I have the original copy that was hung on the wall 2 doors down of the 2026, September 30th, 2026 retail license for sale of cigarettes, and also the one that expires on September 30th of 2026 for the retail license for sale of cigars and smoking tobacco, which we just brought over. And I've also got the emails from the late Frank Anzalata, who died at age 65, that was Gina's accountant, Gina Stewart's accountant, until the time of his untimely death. He's 6 years younger than I am. So he was 65, I'm going on 72. And every day is a bonus day. And we'd like to show whoever wants to see these, if you haven't seen, or perhaps you have copies of these licenses for them? You have got it. Would you like a copy of these emails back and forth from the late Mr. Frank Anzalata, I believe?
Yeah, because we were asking.
Here you go. And that's, would you like that as your copy for your records? I think that's fine with us. And you've got the...
Yep, we have
You have it, okay. Yeah, this is going back on your wall. And I believe that might be all I have to see, but am I correct, Jimmy, there's nothing else we need to do?
If they want to see the obit.
Oh, she has the obit on her phone if you wanted to see about Mr. Frank Anzalata's final remarks by family and friends, I guess. I just took a quick look at it, don't have any details, he's gone. Long story short, she'd just like to get from the town, she's ready to pay anything she needs to pay to the town for the additional stamp of approval, permit, whatever it is that the town gives to her to make her complete to do this particular order of business. It's part of what she sells there. That is tobacco. see the state documents that she had?
The,
The actual licenses?
her current DOR for the
Yes.
store? No, we've
got
accessed that through the
The only
database.
thing you haven't seen is these emails. Okay. And I think they're all from June 19th. Mr. Anzalata seemed to be top two, and they're a bit repetitive, and she thanks him.
Questions?
No, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You know, it's one of the things we've been asking for since the beginning.
Would you like to?
Look at it.
And feel free to take a screenshot of it if you want to. We may even have an extra copy for you. Do you have an extra copy? We have an extra copy for you. Would you like to see that? I can.
If that would be okay,
Yeah,
I'm just
I'll
gonna
give
take a
this to the
picture.
board. And you've got, you can make as many as you want. Okay. And here's that to you. You can keep those copies. If there's anything else you need, we'd be happy to try and provide it for your satisfaction. I appreciate it.
Questions? Questions? No? I still have a concern as to where the forged document came from.
I couldn't hear him say.
I says, I have a question as to where that forged document came from.
My client has discussed that allegation was forged. She has no idea. Could be a clerical error, I don't know. I came into this afternoon. I met her earlier, I've met her in the past. I have represented her brother in his business over the years, friend of the family, so to speak. But, I don't know. It's not a happy thing to have anywhere on the record. It's there, I don't know. We
actually forged?
I can't speak to that, but I do know from the Department of Revenue communicating from the information request that this Anna Alvarado Baptista checked the permits, licenses that were issued, and none were applied for the Village Grill and Market during the time period that this was started. So, she says, applications for the October 1st, 24 to September 30th, 26 tobacco licenses under the name of businesses, owner and accountant name, with the street address in Warren and West Warren zip codes, that they could not verify the attached permit because there was no application submitted, permit issued, or any documentation at DOR for the permit presented to the Board of Health by the Village Grill and Market.
It had to be generated somewhere. Any comments?
My client informed me when she was told it was not in the system at some point in your prior meetings or perhaps a phone call. She immediately filed for a new license, which I believe that she has. I can't,
I mean, it's
I
possible.
don't know any further information.
Scan
as to
something
what
and
it is.
edit it. I mean, just like this one alone, you look.
Yeah.
Like it. I didn't notice it earlier, but
Mhm.
2 different dates, but then all the other ones are dated the same day, so it's, I mean, easy enough to edit these documents. You know, pay $75 for an Adobe subscription, you can edit any PDF you want.
Mhm.
Okay, I mean, it is concerning, because her as the owner, whether she had the accountant pull these permits for her or not, it's still, her responsibility
Still
to
the
make sure
responsibility
of making sure you're permitted the right way. Ignorance of the law is in the defense.
You can't speak to Mr. Frank Anzalone, he's dead. He's not gonna be responding to our pleas to tell us what happened. I'm quite sure my client didn't do it. Certainly speaks to the fact that she relied upon him. I've never heard of the guy before, don't know any Anzalone is. But she's here, she's just trying to run a little business. She's had a lot of reversals here in this relatively small town for several years, the kitchen situation, etc. But she would like to go forward and be here, service your town. We just went over there to get an envelope in the paper, and one of her regulars showed up, and she's said, we're closed today. We're closed today because she's here. It would be good if she could get back to work and keep her business here. It's very difficult to run a small business in America. My practice of law has been a small business since I walked out my father's law office in 1992. He said, I like what you did. I don't like the way you did it. Let's have lunch. Back to business. My father's been dead for several years. My mother's been dead for 10. We have to go forward. And I'd ask you to help her go forward here. It's a very unforgiving environment here. A tough winter. Nobody's got too much money to blow. She's strapped, trying to run her household. She lives with her mother. Not a lot of extra money. She relied on someone. The man is now dead. He's not going to be summoned by the Worcester County District Attorney to come back and answer any interrogatories or production of documents or anything else. And we'd just like to get this resolved so that the town can continue to do business with her and she can continue to find it makes sense to put gas in her car to drive out here and open the door every day. And at this point in time, only she and her mother sitting
May 22nd.
Dennis is doing
When's the letter?
That one, on this copy.
Yeah, that's got a date of what?
June 19th.
So why did the email come after the?
So the email went out after this.
Yeah, I guess this is when I was supposed to be tied to that email, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, 24.
And then
2023.
it's effective on the 20.
So it's done June 23 on that.
This one is, it's what
The
this
top
one.
right corner.
This one?
Yeah.
Do you, one thing we can do is try to check metadata on the email. She's got the email, the file he sent her. Sometimes I'll tell you if the file was edited.
I just don't understand how it would be a clerical issue.
Yeah.
If there was no application, how would it be a clerical issue? It would be a clerical issue if it was submitted.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, it looks to be that there was no permit initially applied for. And then everything else came after the fact to catch up to the permit.
Right.
And that's when the state got involved and said, hey, yeah, there's no permit, there's no application. And that's been gone through you guys a couple of times. The investigation for the actual permit that was never, application that was never received.
There is you can go on the Department of Revenue when they have, everyone in the state who has a Department of Revenue permit is in that database, and you can search each 2-year period. So it would go from 24 to 26, and then previous week would be 22 to 24. So you can look at the histories and see when those permits were applied for.
And just to clarify, if they applied, it would still show up on there. If it was
If
applied.
it was, no, those are ones they've been issued.
Okay.
Okay, I can actually check, see if I can get on the database in here and show you that.
Okay.
And just to clarify, are you saying you can check now the database to see if she applied in 22 and 24, is that what you're trying to do? Excuse me, Joey,
I'm sorry.
are you now looking up on your database?
No, I'm just, they had a question, I'm just showing them how you can look up a permit.
Oh, I wondered if you can actually get that
I can
information.
try.
Yeah, if you could. But that what you're looking to see if there's an application that was made in 22 and or 24. But we know we had a 26 application because that's, we have the document that actually is permit now. So that was made maybe in 25.
Your, there was no documentation, document application for October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2026 license
Except
period.
for that one.
And she just recently applied, that's the other one.
What was it, was there a 24 application?
And the date of that application is,
So it's just the 24
But it's
application.
for the application period October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2026. So whenever previous to that.
there was nothing before that.
She had one previously for the previous 2 years.
It's possible the accountant did something, but he's no longer with us. And she shouldn't be punished for what he may or may not have done by omission or commission. She's just trying to run a business, and she's taking a real hit. She's losing $5,000 to $10,000 in revenue a month, in gross revenue for the inability to sell tobacco products.
No.
6:38 p.m.
No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna sign in sheet for everybody and pass it around, thank you.
Yeah.
nothing.
Found it. 'Cause I was able to find that database too.
Did you have any luck in the phone?
It's not the most easiest site to navigate, I'm just trying to keep the connectivity.
Oh, I see.
Trying to-
There's not a lot of bandwidth here.
Just me and do email if you like.
I'm just gonna pass it on a sign in sheet if you don't mind signing.
Yeah, sure.
That's the latest. So this is current active one. So it was issued 12/18/2025.
Did you find the site?
Yeah.
You did, okay.
Yeah, I guess I got the list right here now.
Yeah, so.
So that's showing 12/18/2025.
Right, but if you go back to the site, you can see past
Yeah.
years and when those were applied for. It should give the effective date on the list.
Let's see, this link I found was like right to the spreadsheet. I mean, it's possible if she had this accountant doing it, that he just came up with the forms, but
Did you research the name and what the paper? Did you want me to look at the original?
She does inform me that we've already established, meaning everybody here besides me, potentially, her accountant hadn't applied for 26, and that's why she did it at a prior date. And she'd just like to put this behind her and get the required permit from the town to go forward and run a business. And I think that would be the fairest thing. And what it suggests is we can't punish the accountant for being lax. He's done. And he's just as good, perhaps, I don't know.
Thank you.
Thanks, yeah. There was no further communication with Frank Manzelotti after Thursday, June 19th at 7:34 PM.
No. That was it.
So you didn't get a response back to your question here?
He probably called me.
I attended the sheet,
Dan,
said that
Joan
he
is
made a
asking
call.
if she could call in.
Yes.
I can't hear you, what did you say?
Joan, the director of the Tobacco Coalition, just asked if she could call in to speak. Hello, Joan, you're here, the recorded meeting.
Hi, how are you?
Good, everybody's, Dan is right there.
Okay, so Jessica, you had the email, that I had sent the board about when I spoke to, Anna, the COR agent, when I did the public information request.
Yep, I printed that off for the board members.
Okay, so according to Anna, there was nothing, no documents to give us under the public information because nobody had applied.
question that I
To
had.
get her license. That document does not exist with DOR. There's no evidence of any application until she contacted them in December. And they looked it up by Westmoreland, zip code, street, and the business name. So it didn't matter if, so they said that document was not produced by their office.
Okay.
So, moving forward, it does, she does have an email from an accountant, I looked that name up, I couldn't find him listed anywhere publicly, I couldn't find that name listed anywhere, I think Jessica looked it up as well. She does have an email, and that's what we asked her to bring, if she had any email documentation. It does say that there's an attached license on it in June of 2025. I don't know what date she came in, because it was when she submitted it to Jessica to get her local license that was due for July 1st of 2025. But one of the things that Anna did say is that when the person, whatever that document is, if she had applied on May 24th, 2024, it still would have expired September 30th, 2024, not 2025. So the answer to the question, where did this document come from, I think we're still in the same place.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of, but I'm not having any luck getting there.
And then the other question that I have is, in the first email, he said that he's working on the taxes and he's giving some money. DOR will not issue it till everything's paid in full. And then I also noticed on that paper, it says 2 emails were sent on the same exact date at the exact same time.
Yes.
Email 1 and 2 were sent at exactly at 6:38 at the exact same time.
Yes.
So that's kind of an anomaly. It's almost impossible for 2 emails from the same person to be sent with the same timestamp.
But it's not impossible, and you're also not here. I'm listening to you here, I'm an attorney, Charles B. Ryan, we're here, Joan, you're not here, and we can't go back and unbury the man, Frank Anzalata, and ask him these questions. I get into this case this afternoon, and we're trying to prove a negative. The man's dead, we can't prove a negative. I believe my client had nothing to do with any illegal situation.
We don't know his involvement, we just know that the applicant said that she printed this from an accountant and brought it in to Jessica. And the document that she's showing shows that the document says that he applied for it on January, for June 2025 for her, but the document she submitted to Jessica says that it was applied for on May 24th, 2024, a year earlier. So, it's up to you as a board to decide how you want to move forward. At first she had a license but not a valid DOR, now she has a valid DOR but not a license. It's up to you guys if you want to reconcile and move forward, or we're taking a look at this, that, it appears that I don't know who submitted it, but Jessica received it from the business owner, and it's not a valid DOR. It's not, DOR said that is not a document produced by their office, and there's no evidence that anybody applied on behalf of this business location until the owner just did in December. So we still don't know where that license came from.
And we don't either. And I'd ask you to go forward rather than trying to dig into the bones of the grave. We can't get
Well,
this message.
I guess what it was this submitted fraudulently because taxes weren't paid and there wasn't in the license that existed. That's a grievous issue. So I think the board was trying to get out of the fact, was this something that, the applicant had somebody assisting her that was inept and did this, or was there taxes not paid and no document and it was altered to get the license?
I can't speak for the dead accountant I never met. So we're here today trying to go forward, and to go over the sins of the past is really going backwards. We'd like to go forwards, And frankly, the future of her business is hanging upon this permit to a great extent. And
Well,
if people want a village market where they can buy things conveniently, that's at stake today. She does not have a limitless bank account or piggy bank. The sins of the past are behind, they're in the past. We have a $40 trillion national debt. We have a lot of things to apologize for in this country.
presented a fraudulent document to get a tobacco license. I don't know what you mean by sins of the past.
My client has done nothing illegal, in my knowledge, and I don't believe she did anything illegal. I think she had an accountant who unfortunately is dead. And we've offered to show his obituary to the members of the board. If anybody'd like to see it, she's got a screenshot here, you can read it. Joey, you're not here, I'm sorry you're not here, but the man is dead.
You know, we discovered this, it was to bring the information because her license got lifted because she didn't have a DOR. And normally people have a local license, and as soon as they straighten out the DOR issue, it gets given back to them right away. There was no license to give back because the DOR that was used, the license was issued to her in good faith. The DOR could not be verified, and she was not on the DOR list. So when we go to the public list that tells us every business that has a proper DOR, she did not have a DOR. So we had to tell her there was no license to give back to her because she didn't have the DOR, and it was issued to her in good faith. And when DOR could not substantiate that that was a legitimate DOR issued by their office, there was no permit to give her back to. She had to reapply. So she reapplied for the permit. She now has the correct DOR, but the board is taking a look at, still wanting an answer to how did you turn this document in? And right now, she submitted, look, my accountant sent it to me, but the dates don't match up with the date that it was issued. So it's up to the board to decide that. You know, for us, as tobacco agents, we do this for 46 towns. We don't have any, whatever the board decides to do. But nobody wants to, you know, when you say sins of the past, we don't know what this, you know, when you say sins of the past, I don't know what that means because if somebody presents a licensing document that is not a legitimate document, that's an egregious offense. That's not something minor.
You've told us that several times, I agree with the fence. I told you several times that the man is not here, he's dead. And she relied upon a dead man.
Created this document
Well,
because
I don't know who created the document.
about he's helping her, and it doesn't show because she submitted a DOR that the dates don't match up. It says June 19th, 6:30 p.m. of 2025. The permit said that it was issued May 24th, 2024, and DOR said that there's nobody has put in an application. She has a Mass Connect number, so whether her accountant did that for her or she did it for her, it all goes to that one Mass Connect number and it gets mailed to her. You can put anybody you want for the email address, but the mailing, if she had applied or her accountant applied for her, it would have been mailed to her establishment. So, I don't know, we don't know where that we still don't have an answer to where that document came from. And right now, we have emails where the dates are a year after she had applied for that license. And those are our questions to the board. If the board wants to onward and move forward, that's entirely up to the board. But I think the board was looking for some sort of answer as to how did she come into possession with this document. And this 2025 email doesn't speak to how a document that has a May 24th, 2024 date on it, and the Department of Revenues, under Public Information Act, had no document to provide because there was nobody that applied for that application. So, is it your contention the accountant made a fraudulent DOR for his client?
I don't know enough about it, he's not here. My client says you relied upon him to prepare everything. And as far as the dates back and forth, I don't know.
We asked your client to get a letter from DOR to verify that it came from DOR, and she didn't. So we
I know we have a license that's currently active this year. Whatever, look back there's gonna be by DOR is gonna be enough.
With DOR for a couple of months to get her back taxes paid, and they issued her in December, just December, a couple months ago. The whole entire time she was operating her business from, October 1st, 2024, up until we saw her in October 2025 without valid licenses.
I can't speak to your dates, and focus on trying to get the permit or the license from the town right now on top of the DOR that she's got that's valid through September 30th of this year for cigarettes and cigars, tobacco. The DOR is a big institution. It's a tax collector for the state. If there's a problem, she's gonna get some other document from the DOR that basically says you owe us something at some point in the future. In the meantime, in order to be able to pay those things, if that's what happens when your accountant is unreliable, and I know nothing about this Mr. Antelot, except I've seen that he's dead. I've seen this, the screenshot is in her phone, we're waiting to show it to anybody who wants to see it here. We can send it to you if we have the information.
Possible on June 19th at 6:38, he sent.
I can't hear you, I wish you were here so I could hear you.
She's
She's
sick.
sick, so she didn't wanna get everybody
That's
sick.
fine.
I can't hear, what did you say?
Said she's sick, that's why she's not
Okay,
here
fine.
today.
I'm sorry you're not here, sorry you're sick, but we're here today, and
Yeah, and Jody's there too, and she can speak to some of this as well.
okay, but you said,
It's entirely up to the board. The
yeah,
board is
okay,
looking at
and you
the
said that,
applications
and we'd like to leave it up to the board, and I suggest,
We don't have a recommendation either way. Our
Yeah,
job
okay.
is to provide the board with the information asked for
okay,
and to take a look. We noticed that this was a fraudulent DOR because it had an expiration date of 2025 and they expire every 2 years on an even year. So that's how we discovered that this was not a legitimate DOR.
congratulations on a job well done.
Followed all the way through with DOR. They verified it was not a legitimate DOR. They also verified nobody has applied for this location for the 2024-26 years until after we cited her for not having a DOR and told her she had to remove her tobacco until she straightened out her problems with DOR. Now, if this was a store that had a license in good standing, the license just automatically resumes when you straighten out your DOR issues. However, the license was issued, it wasn't properly issued because the DOR license could not be verified. Her DOR license for this business was completely verified for 22 to 24, and it was also verified for her other business, Crossroads. And that's not in our service area, we only looked up her other businesses, Crossroads, because she brought it up in the hearing, so she thought maybe they made some sort of mistake between her Crossroads business and the Village Market. So, we asked her, well, she had Anna on the phone, and Anna was helping her get her new license, point out these errors and try to get DOR to show some mistake was made, and your client didn't do that. So under public information, we inquired to DOR about this application. And I have to report what DOR told me. I can't say anything differently. The rest now is up to the board.
Well, you've said it's up to the board several times, and I thank you, Joan, and I'd ask the board to find in my client's favor so that she can go forward and face the music if there is any that comes from the DOR. However, it would seem to me that it's logical that if the DOR had an issue, they would have demanded payment before they issued the new license, which is valid right now.
She did have to pay them. They did demand payment. They would
So
not
there you
issue
go.
her license. She told us that, and Anna told us she owed back taxes and she had to pay those before they issued her the one she
Well,
currently has.
then that's been
She
resolved.
confirmed that.
Then that's been resolved. And we have a
So
suspect in,
So we have these June things saying that, so I wonder how did that license get attached? Because in the emails that she presents from Frank, it says you owe sales taxes and I'm working on your corporate tax, and it says corporate tax 500, and on the same day, there's an attached license. We don't know if the paper says it's an attached license. We don't know because this is just a piece of paper. But, at one point, she was gonna
Well, that's a big jump, and frankly said, I do not, thank you for that.
It's a fraudulent DOR, so it's not that big of a jump.
Well, look at, the DOR has already had their thing. You're now with the DOR, you're reporting this, and, you know, you're really going on a great length. You're not even here. Nobody in this room has had as much to say as you, and I'm trying to stand up for my client, and you're an abstention. You've said 4 or 5 times it's up to,
That's my job as tobacco agent.
yeah, okay, and I've got a job as an attorney, and I've been sworn in and active for 35 years, and my client is being insinuated that she's done something criminal. She's already paid the DOR in order to get this year's license, which she's been sporting on her board. She brought the originals over for everybody's review. It's going back on the wall behind the counter. And we just need the town one so this business can stay open. Because there's so few profit items in the low margins that you are able to churn out of a small convenience store in a small town, that it is that important that we're here today. And she paid me enough money to get me to come out from my office in Springfield and spend the rest of the day with her since early afternoon. And we're here. And if the DOR's got any problem, they, you know, I'm talking, Joan, and you're talking over me, and I'm really not happy about it. You're not here, you're a box in the wall.
Okay,
Yeah.
Come on.
time.
It
Getting out
is
of
too
control.
much.
Getting out of control.
Yeah, but it's too much. I mean, really, she won't stop talking. She's not here.
She's got
We're
a point
before you.
today.
She said
Let
4 or
her
5
speak,
times.
and then I'll let you
Yeah,
speak.
okay, go ahead. You know, I mean, it's getting repetitive, and what else have we heard? It's up to the board.
Go ahead,
She has
Joe.
paid it, she cleared the DOR.
I mean, there's not much more to say. This was discovered accidentally. It was discovered in a routine inspection. Jody, who's present before you, discovered it in the routine inspection. The protocol is remove your products until you can prove that you have a valid DOR. We don't make retailers remove their products if we can just, we have the DOR link right on our iPad. We look it right up. Okay, we found that you do have a legitimate DOR. We're gonna give you a few days to get your copy and get it posted. We don't make retailers remove it if we can verify them. In this particular case, they could not be verified because there was no DOR the whole entire period that was issued to this store location. We moved forward with the hearing. She printed that DOR and somehow and brought it in and presented it herself. It wasn't emailed or forwarded. And we started an investigation, and as your tobacco agent, we followed the steps and we're providing the board with the information that we were asked to find out about. Now it's up to the board to determine, you know, if you want to move forward and give this person a license, if you want to put conditions on it, if you want to give them a license or not give them a license based on the fact that, you know, this business submitted, walked into your office and submitted an invalid DOR document to get a local license.
Well, Joan, it's a great opinion.
Do you guys want to
As
take a
per
vote?
tobacco
Yeah,
agent,
we'll-
we work with all of our retailers. If you give her a license, we continue to work with this retailer as we have in the past. If you don't give her a license, that's a board decision.
Okay, thank
If the board
you.
is satisfied with the information and they want to move forward with the license, it's completely up to the board.
All right, thanks, Joan.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Joan. So she said it several times, it's up to the board, and I agree.
It is.
She has already resolved the problem with the DOR. If there's anything else coming from anybody in the state, the DOR, a district attorney, a US attorney, an attorney general, she's the only person standing who had anything to do with Frank Anzalata. He's dead. Frank's not gonna be answering any subpoenas. You know, it's, people die, they move on. He was 6 years younger than me. I just heard about him today. You know, a moment of silence for Frank Anzalata. Whether he made a mistake, the guy was already retired. Maybe he's in, I just buried a brother-in-law who was 3 years younger than me in aggressive dementia, Bobby Louie dementia. Every day is a bonus. And
All right, we're gonna take
Sun's
have a little discussion here and take a vote whether we move forward or we don't give a license.
I couldn't hear you too well. I'm sorry. There's an echo here. My hearing's not that
I
good.
said we're gonna have a little discussion between us here, and then we're gonna make a vote whether we move forward and hand out a license or not.
I appreciate it. If we could do anything else to help with you coming to a favorable decision, we're happy to do it.
Obituary?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Do you wish it?
You have the obituary?
I do.
Yes, yes, she does, yeah. Could you show it to me before you show it to them? I'd like to see it.
Oh, wait a minute. It's two parts. It's this.
Okay. I apologize, the reason I don't answer emails is because I have a flip phone. I'm just gonna show it to you, you guys might know how to use these things.
It's in two
I don't
parts.
know how to use them. We're done now, what are we gonna do? Yes, so there's two parts, you know. How to do it. This is my communicator. You want to get a screenshot of it or anything? I can send it to your email address.
July.
Or you looking it up?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
okay,
look
great,
it up
yeah.
on their
Sure.
website. And,
I don't know if they erase those things or what it was.
probably not, I mean, my phone's still up there from
They
the
stay
other
forever?
years ago.
That's,
It's gonna follow me around.
you could look at this next.
My sister told me I got the last home in family plot. I said, you gonna find me? 70% water, baby.
Yeah, I think all the same, yeah. I think it's the line, actually.
You should pop right up on it.
Yeah, so I mean, it's,
When did you
Your
get it?
agenda if you want it. You're up next. Just so you know.
July
July
25.
20.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
just.
email was in there, June 19th.
And 25, just the notice dates.
Okay.
I was waiting on him to want to play it.
Jody just wants to state the notice date is May
Yeah.
22nd, 2023.
yeah, I noticed that the, earlier.
I didn't get so.
The notice date of the DOR was issued May 22nd, 2023.
It seemed to be condensed when I was hearing stuff before.
This is
24, something be
Yes.
expired.
Yeah, so they expired, issued and expired on even years, and the one that she has, that's the one that's fraudulent in question, was odd years, so they wouldn't issue that, so that's what they're saying.
And when did these
Can't
things
send
expire?
email.
September 30th?
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
Yeah,
September
It's
30th.
even numbered years on every September 30th.
So 2024 to 2026 it would be.
Correct.
And that's the date or the time frame of the DOR that we're talking about right now.
And now she's got one for. it's good
December
till- It's
to
good till
the
this September.
Correct.
yes,
And
yes.
then there's got,
You gotta-
when do you apply for
Can
new?
you ask her to unlock it?
Sometime
You
this
want
year.
that screen locked by
July.
accident?
So every fiscal year, permits get renewed through the town.
Okay.
So that's every July 1st.
my biggest concern, like I say, essentially her defense is, you know, she got everything from the accountant, you know, however he produced those documents, you know, nobody knows, but as a business owner, it's ultimately her responsibility to ensure that she's properly licensed, doing all the things she should be doing. You know, you guys, this board has had issues with the business in the past prior to me being on here. And it, you know, it seems like another round of, well, I didn't know, which is, you know, a bit concerning. I understand she's done what she needs to do to get licensed. I don't know what we can do as far as, you know, adding stipulations on a permit. You know, that would potentially help. It's really not, at least from my understanding, not a whole lot that we'd be able to add, other than stronger enforcement, but again, that's up to,
It's up to the state.
yeah.
Jim?
I know we've had quite a few issues with this past. What is this, the current license good for? How long right now? If we were not to,
To September.
September 30th, 2026 is when they expire. They expire every 2 years, the Department of Revenue.
So if we were to issue a license, how long would that be?
From right now until June 30th of 2026. So our new fiscal year turnover is when we issue the new permits. So,
But excuse me, but the DOR license would continue until the end of September. In the meantime, she'd be renewing that to go till September of 2028? Yes, okay. I characterize this as one of those things that happen in life, and a lot of people are gone. They're not answering for their crimes, whether it's Epstein or Hitler, and Tonello or Anzalato or everything was. But he's dead. We can't bring him back. There's a lot of people I'd like to talk to. They're gone. And I miss some of them, some I don't. I'm glad they're gone. But we're here today, and you really do, again, have a business in crisis. She had to close today because of personnel issues. Difficult to get people who you can say, hey, here's a cash register, here's a computer.
That's not gonna affect our decision.
I understand, but I mean, I'm asking you to please give her the permit she needs to get out here and try to get some good space between now and the past, which is most unfortunate. If it wasn't unfortunate, I wouldn't be here today. She wouldn't call me. She wouldn't have paid real money to get me out here. And I hope I can earn that money, and I'm here, no guarantees, but beseeching you to do the right thing, because herself and her mother are absolutely dependent upon wanting that little store so that they can pay all the other things they need to pay, including paying for the store and paying the town and paying the state. I don't know what the state demanded to get that license, but I'm sure anything that was considered to be back due is already been paid, or they wouldn't have got that license. And I believe she's paid and ready to pay whatever the town needs right now, which is legal, to be paid if there is anything. I think she's all set. Maybe there's another fee. She told me she's aware that may be today, and she's ready to pay it. I'd ask you to vote in favor of at least bringing her out to, is it September 30th, or is it the end of June you're going to?
So
the current fiscal year would be to the end of June.
I mean, you're only talking another 5 months.
we have to vote
Or
again
4
in
months.
June, right? Or say just
I mean, it wouldn't be a vote, it would be a permit renewal at
And
that
that's
point.
automatic.
It's not so much automatic, she fill out the application or provide an application in the DOR that, the new one, which, from December, and then you guys would approve, and then we would send the permit to the Tobacco Coalition.
And again, this is just a few months to bail the ship that's sinking out and keeping the business, the village market in your town. Not my town, your town.
How often do they update that? Is that database updated, like?
I believe it's updated quarterly,
Oh, okay.
because some people do apply later, and so I do believe it's updated quarterly.
But
It's
we-
not,
say it's not like updated come, you know, right before the permit expires, we should be able to call DOR and verify that, like.
I'm sure there's a way to get in touch with someone to see. It won't be on October 1st uploaded that quick.
Right, that's
But
what I
it does
mean.
come up pretty fast.
I'm happy to report also that she has a new accountant of my acquaintance, someone I went to high school with. He's a good guy, he's been a CPA for 45 years.
I mean, the only thing I'd say is if we were to approve it is, you know, come when it expires, we definitely confirm with DOR before we
Issue it.
issue a next one, you know.
That'd be-
Confirm it
that'd
with
be
DOR,
wonderful.
that it's an active permit, whether it's in the database, and if not, you know, reach out to DOR and get confirmation, not just go by, hey, we have a, you know, here's a copy of the license, actually have it confirmed.
So would you require her right now to fill out the application, give the DOR proof right now, plus or minus paying the fee of the permit, and then June 1st, the same thing, or, I'm sorry, June 30th,
Yeah,
when the new renewal.
I think that's an option.
That would be very, very helpful. think
I
we'd be
still
able to-
can't get past it, we have a forged document.
That's a shame. I don't believe for a second that my client did that. I believe, you know, there's nobody else to point to, the dead man. But, you know, she's the one that's dealing with the negligence or criminal behavior of a dead man. And, life is short. On a space and time continuous called life.
Or if we were to hold until a new fiscal June.
Explain that.
Or she would need the permit from the town after, in July, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah,
She has-
after July, she'd need a new permit from the town.
Yeah, that's basically what we're, step, the state,
But her state permit's good till.
it's still, it would be still.
September.
September 30th and 26th.
So-
And in the meantime, she'd be applying, assuming her business survives, sometime before September 30th. That would go out till June, excuse me, till 2028.
After July,
Yeah.
Which I mean, by, you know, doing September, there's no reason, you know, you couldn't have the permit applied for by July, you know, to show that it's been applied for with DOR. We just have to confirm it with DOR, because the database wouldn't be updated by then. Or at the very least, you know, the next permit only valid until end of September.
because right now,
Until
we
we
have
have
a
it
confirm
confirmed.
from,
Yeah, there's a confirmed, you know, license with DOR till September.
I haven't seen a copy of that
Um,
one from December if you.
yeah, I mean, we need a copy of that. I do see it, I'm on the database right now, and it is on there.
They have a copy as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's two of them that they need because they sell cigarettes and cigars and
Right.
smoking tobacco, so they would have the two permits.
And she has those,
No,
would you like to see what she?
Before we go there, on that permit, there's one for cigars and other smoking,
Right, could I?
which
Yeah, could you
includes,
give me those
what?
documents?
So it includes chewing tobacco,
Okay.
nicotine pouches or checked up.
Vapes?
No, they have their own, and her store does
Okay,
not
that's
sell.
what I wanna make sure that
Yeah, her
there's no
store does
vapes.
not, may I?
Yeah.
Okay. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Her store does not sell vape.
Yeah, there's
So
no
these are the
vapes,
two
no.
new ones, so, you can see the notice date here, which is December 18th, which is the same as this effective date here. So that's where the discrepancy falls on the other one. And so this is the one for cigarettes, and then this is the one for cigars and smoking tobacco. And I believe her store sells chew, loose leaf tobacco.
I didn't hear, I'm
Do you
sorry.
sell loose tobacco? The big bags?
No, they're in can, like little
Okay,
cans.
yeah, all right, yep. So, and then these, but that's the effective date.
Okay.
It's the same as.
All right, we're ready, Ray? You want to
Thank you.
make a motion?
And regardless of an investigation, I think Joan had stated Dior would issue the permit.
Yeah.
Anyway, unless something came up directed.
Yeah, make a motion.
So, make a motion to approve the, tobacco permit for Village Market till the end of the fiscal year, so June 30th, 2026. About that for a minute. And then future permits, we'll have to get confirmation from DOR before issuing.
That'd be very fair.
Can you confirm with an application and a fee, or no, just so I?
Yeah, with a new application and, fee submitted.
Now, is that something we can do right here? She told me she brought money to pay any fee for this.
I have a new application that the Tobacco Coalition is helped us with, as our current application was basically just stating your business and the
Is it
contacts.
possible for her to begin to fill it in right here?
I can send it to you, I mean, I can give it to you right now.
Yeah. I mean, if it's something that she could do, then I don't know. Maybe say this. We say, I have a feeling we can. We want to get this done.
Okay,
because-
let me get through this vote first before we do anything else. Okay, so you need a motion, second motion?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So motion made, motion carried.
Thank you very much.
The only thing I'd say about her doing the application now, you know, you're not going back to the office afterwards, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't want her responsible with having to carry the permit fee in her pocket till she goes back to
If
the
you
office.
just-
Would you like her to do this overnight and
Tomorrow.
come see you tomorrow at the office?
Yes.
Yep, I'm here at
And she'll
8:30.
bring, how much money does she need for you?
It's
in the morning?
75 for the,
How much was it?
it's $75.
Yeah, okay, well, she'll come over to your office tomorrow after what time?
I get in at 8:30.
She'll come in after 8:30 tomorrow, normal business hours, you go till 4 or 5?
Yeah, correct.
And she'll come over with the completed application, you make your copies, go over there and give her one of your checks from your business. And thank you very much, and by the way, if anybody ever has a legal question, you don't know who to call, you can call me, I'm gonna answer your question, because I'm gonna tell you thank you for being so kind and being good Americans, because we're surrounded by a lot of wise guys and other people who aren't so sure. Excuse me? Can she sell cigarettes tomorrow?
Not until we get the license.
Not until you get a license, okay. And how long?
And this is just an
How long,
application.
if she brings you,
Application.
if she brings you the license application money, how long does it take for you to issue the license?
Signatures are needed on it, so that depends on the board.
Oh, you just need theirs,
Their
okay.
signature.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you'll be, as soon as you have the license, you can sell.
All that is completed, you can just let
Contact
Joe know.
Joan.
How you get from here, Joey, what did you say?
And just for her to contact the Director of Tobacco Control, Jessica to contact the Tobacco
Yep.
Control Director, and then
And who's the tobacco control?
John.
Joan,
Joan Hamlet, the one that was on the phone with
Okay,
us.
and who's gonna contact her?
So I just notified her of the permit and the
Gotcha,
application and
okay.
letting
Okay.
her know the board's
And
decision.
thank Joan for her patience with me. And I thank you, everyone. And it was very nice to meet you and very nice to come to one. If you have any legal questions, just remind me of how kind you were to everybody here today. I answer questions all the time for free. I don't send out bills. If I want to get paid, I say, fork it over and what you receive. Do we have anything else before you today? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you, take care.
Oh, I have more.
You're next, yeah.
There's more.
All set?
All set.
You're all set, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, number 2, Munster Tobacco Control Alliance, copy of tobacco regulations and a brief introduction.
Okay, so what it is there's, on the first page of the proposed draft, you have a checklist to go over. So I can go over this with you.
Yeah.
We can set another meeting that we can come and go over, after you've reviewed these, what you'd like to, add, not add. We can go over at that meeting, but I'm here to clarify any questions. And we can go over it
What was this?
item by item if you'd like. I know it's,
Okay, which one of these?
that one,
The checklist.
it's a checklist,
Yeah.
Okay.
just like that. So these would be for your tobacco regulations, your proposed tobacco regulations, and you have a copy of a draft reg right in front of you. So this is just the checklist for policy decisions. So if you'd like, we can go over this one by one, and if you have any questions, I can answer them.
Yeah, let's run down the checklist.
Okay, so no permit renewal if outstanding fine exists. So when it comes to discussing this and, adopting a draft, then you would select yes or no. No permit renewal if 3 sales to a person under 21. So that would be if, say, one of your retailers within 1 year, a 12-month period, sold to a minor 3 times, then their permit would not be renewed. No sales to the following persons, any person under the age of 21. And then there's also a little asterisk here with nicotine-free generation. I believe that there was someone here at the last meeting that discussed it with you a little bit, and that's something that we can discuss further at your next meeting.
Mhm.
No new permits within X amount of feet of a school. No new permits within X amount of feet of an existing retailer. So that would be maybe if you wanted to have a retailer move in and open up right next door to this center, that would put them right next door to the village market. So, you have X amount of distance between that.
And basically, we can set that distance.
Correct.
Yeah.
Let's see, cap or reduced number of permits. So currently you have 5, soon to be 6 permits in town. So what you can do is you can set a simple cap of 6, you can have it at 8, or you could have something called a retiring cap, meaning that once a business goes out of business, not sold, but out of business, then that tobacco permit becomes retired. So it reduces the number. So if one of your retailers decided to no longer sell cigarettes, then that one would be retired. So those are the two. One that you would set a certain number of permits, and the other one that the permits would be retired. So if there would happen to be a business that's sold, that permit would go with that business, so it wouldn't necessarily be retired. So, let's see. A ban on smoking bars. Include minimum cigar package, size, and price. So an example of this would be a single cigar would be no less than $2.50 plus tax. And then a multi-pack of 2 or more could not be any less than $5 plus tax. They can be more than that, but just not sold under
That's
that
why
$5.
rock bottom price.
Yeah, and then, so no redemption.
You cannot, and correct me if I'm wrong, but no sale on cigarettes or tobacco products? No sales.
Oh, yeah, that would be like coupons, that's in here as well. So coupons, buy one, get one free, that kind of thing, reducing the amount of the cost of those tobacco products. Ban on self-service display. This is also a state violation, but it's anything that is within reach of a customer. So I can't help myself to a cigar. Like all humidors must be locked if it has any access to a customer. Let's see. Ban on tobacco product sales in educational institutions. And then there is the fining structure system. So what it is you will have local violations, and that would be like prohibiting the sale of a blunt wrap or the cigar pricing. So those are considered local regulations. They're not state regulations. So you can set the amount of a fine for that. Some of our towns have $100. Some towns have $300. Some towns attach with the first violation of having a permit suspension with that. So that's something for you to consider. And then the state fines, that fine system is set so that you could have, it would have to be, if you have a flavored product or you sell to a minor, that fine starts at $1,000. With the sale to a minor, it comes with an automatic 3-day permit suspension. So, and then those fines increase depending on which violation. And then you also have the tolling period. So we have a tolling period of 36 months, and that is for both local violations and state violations. So if you have, you know, a violation in 2024, a violation in 2025, and another one in 2026, you're at the top of the fine structure. You get another one in 27, that one in 24 would drop off, so you're still at the top of the fine structure, if that makes sense.
So it's progressive, and once you hit the maximum, you stop there.
Until you have a period of time where you don't have any infractions.
Yeah.
So you could have a bunch of sales in 1 year and then nothing for 3, so your record is clean. So, and then you can choose your suspension periods for the first violation. You know, 1 day, 3 day, 7 day. Second violation would be 3 day, 7 day, 14 days. And then third or more violations, 7, 14, and 30. And then there is shall and may for, you know, certain languages of how, you know, the board might have some discretion in reducing, like say a permit suspension, not a fine, but a,
Specific definition for shall, specific definition for may, and how it's used.
so any questions on those?
No?
But this is something for you to review, and then we'll come back on another date, your next board meeting, and we will get a yes or a no. We, at that point, if you choose to adopt this, we will have that draft. We will deliver the draft to the retailers so that they're notified, and then you would vote on the final draft.
Okay. Questions?
Straightforward.
Sounds good.
Little bit of light reading to do.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us,
Okay.
and we can help you with this.
I think we're all set.
It's like the law class I'm taking right now will come in handy for reading this.
Yeah, this is the same thing, I went over this with Lisa Goodnight.
Oh, you
So
did?
I went over
Okay.
this very briefly with her in the
Yeah.
beginning stages. Yep.
Okay. So we'll review that, and then we'll bring it back again and discuss our findings, I guess.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your patience. Okay, number 3.
Yeah, I come bearing good news.
Conducting a meeting with Hardwick Board of Health and Hardwick
Yes.
Healthcare Advisory Board.
Okay, so I'm representing the group, I am the chair of the Healthcare Advisory Board. I am not on the Board of Health. Dr. Neil Heelan, who usually runs around with me on this, is. I'm gonna give this copy. So, let me tell you a little bit about what's going on. I'm not sure you know or are familiar with the fact that there was a $50 billion rural health transformation program that was launched. And how that worked was $10 billion was given every single year to the 50 states to develop a rural health model. And it's $10 billion per year, and that $10 billion then was distributed among the 50 states. So what ended up happening late last year, all the states put in a big application and said, we have all these rural communities and this is why we deserve a certain portion of the money. Our state, Massachusetts, for year one got $162 million. Now, that money can only go to towns and clusters of towns that are considered rural 1 or rural 2, which is high-risk populations, which is us, you, surrounding areas. So I'm going to step back just for a second. I'm a healthcare executive, been there for 37 years, developed programs. I've been executive at CVS Health. So even though I look like a farmer because I've been farming all day, I actually do this for a living. It just happens to be I live in Hardwick, so we are in R2, one of the highest risks, as well as New Braintree. You guys are R1. Believe it or not, you think you're probably worse off than us, but believe it or not, you're not because you're closer to Harrington. But you fall into an R1 category. So in other words, you are part of it. So what I did, what we decided to do, once the state got their $162 million, Neil and I, as well as the Board of Health of Hardwick, as well as their advisory committee of doctors of 5 docs, had been putting together a rural model to support rural health care. And the reason we did this was a couple of reasons. Number one, even if you had an emergency room, even if you had Mary Lane had not shut down, there's a lot of people that still are not receiving care. They're not going in, you can't get into your PCP, there's a million things going wrong in our healthcare system in rural America. So the fact that Mary Lane went down, that was 10 times worse. So it kind of accelerated, I kind of moved a little bit more to my homeland and a little bit away from my business land, try to figure out how can we bring that to this area. So we devised a plan to put together what originally started as, when you look at the way that Massachusetts did it, you can imagine that the entire western part of the state is rural health in general, except for one little pod. Pretty much to the right, down the center line of Worcester and over, there's a thick line up the center of the state that is rural health. And once you get to the right side, it's spotty. Most of that does not qualify. None of that money can go for that. The other really interesting piece of this money is it cannot go to things that are billable today. So this was real money to design programs that supported rural America so you could test it out, put in the frameworks, put everything in place so it could be billable in the future. Not to the towns, to the health systems, and to the health plans. Okay, so the whole idea is to build the right programs so they hit all the right markers so that we can get the data we need in order to get them paid in the future, not on the towns. Not on the towns, it's not on the towns. So we put this together and Neil and I and a few others sat and go, okay, we could go to Bay State, or we could turn a little bit more to the east and say, hey, why don't we try to go team with UMass? So we've developed a plan for rural health, and on there were programs such as we had proposed to them things like doing the triage. So when a 911 calls in, it goes to a triage. Instead of sending an ambulance out to somebody who fell or somebody like a fall in the home or a bad toenail, they didn't send an ambulance, you send a rapid response. So you do different things. That was one of the programs. Another was telepharmacy, where they're actually delivering the meds, and when the people are discharged from the hospital, we're doing a reconciliation so people are staying out of the hospital. We're trying to reduce the amount of ambulances being used and making sure that people are staying much better, more.
She's kicking me out of work.
I'm sorry.
She's kicking me out of work.
I'm not trying to do that. No, we're trying to make best use of your time.
There's enough ambulances.
Another one of those telehealth, because you do want, your particular town actually had a really bad number. You have a couple of things. I put that in there for you because even though I list 7 towns, 2 more towns, you actually were an add-on town for the 6th because we met with your select board while they were looking at the Mary Lane meeting a couple of weeks ago, and they said, no, come here, we need programs like today. So here we are. And the other additional towns are Brookfield and East Brookfield that were added to this. So now we have 30,000 people. So we put this program together, an initiative together. We put it in front of UMass, and then the CEO immediately called. and said, we are totally interested in working with your group. We are right in the center where all of our towns are Worcester County. We are the furthest edge for them on the western side of Worcester County. And what they would bring is all the resources to make these things happen. They have what's called a big digital hub. Last year they built a 20,000 square foot facility in Worcester that they just broke ground or cut the ribbon on January 2025, which includes everything from telemed to navigators to all kinds of things so we can pull these programs together. They also have a rapid response unit. They put a rapid response vehicle in all the towns to do all these kind of when you're triaged, and it's light care, so you don't have to, go in an ambulance, but you could have that care instead. Those types of programs. Now, what I'm here tonight for is not to say, hey, we're going to do this, etc. I'm here to ask for your permission to include you in the early discussions on how this would work. I do have another call with the CEO and his entire team on March 2nd. So what we're trying to do is move this forward to a working group where we then have the teams from the Board of Health. We feel the Board of Health is the right place to be, not the Select Board. This is all about healthcare. I know we tend to work on sewers and all these other things, but we really need to bring some healthcare into those rural regions. I mean, I'm hyper passionate about getting healthcare out here. We have the sickest populations, and again, as you saw your numbers, they were challenging, to say the least. You have 5,000, your median age is 41, your median income is lower, and we gotta do something. They're cutting the Medicaid dollars, so we gotta backfill this with a sustainable model that can be funded forward in the future. And if you don't work with somebody like UMass, you're never gonna get it done. This is our opportunity to spend that money to build that infrastructure the right way, which means using people that know what their towns are doing and how to implement this, and not just have Big Brother come in and say, oh, we're gonna do this. No, small towns work a certain way, and we wanna make sure that that is established in this early phase of this. This is year one, and the way this works, if UMass loves and wants to work with this group, they'll immediately start with these focus groups and figure out what we need to do, step 1, step 2, step 3, and then as we develop these programs, like I said, we have to get these outcomes, because then we send it back to the state and the federal government, and what happens is for that year 2, it determines how much money you get for year 2. So we're all fighting for that $10 billion every year for 5 years, which is okay with me, because I know how to get these numbers out of here, but we have to get basically the towns working together. And it's something we've never really done before, except for some mutual aid and kind of stuff like that, so this is kind of a bigger thing, but it's a really big, serious mission. So thoughts?
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I would be on board with that 100%.
Especially some of the programs that can keep people from having to go to the
I
hospital.
have goosebumps because that's how listen, guys, I always want to
I
cry.
see the
I've been
people-
working on this for my entire life, trying the disparate care, and even as a corporate executive, I've actually built programs for good that could use for evil, and it's a time to actually have an opportunity to build an infrastructure that works for rural, and I think it's super important we do this. And
Yeah, we've done this on a lower level, and I've been in EMT all my life,
good,
paramedic.
you're the perfect.
But
On the word
that's
through.
that's why I made that comment. But we, at that level, we've got a mini program, kind of like what you're trying to set up, where we don't send an ambulance all the time. We have roving bike patrols, we have quality
Perfect.
systems we send out.
Perfect,
It all saves on that,
right.
sending that ambulance and keeping that ambulance just for the absolute necessities.
So we would take some of those learnings from you and figure out how do we build this structure to make this sustainable. More important though, we got to build it in such a way you would get that reimbursed. And that is the carrot at the end of this, is we build programs that are sustainable and work in such a way they become billable. So we think about the way remote patient monitoring was. In the beginning, people just got devices and stuff. that is now billable. So those are programs that made it through kind of this demonstration project, became valuable and billable. We have to build the programs in such a way that we can prove that value just like that and say, these are the things you do, and they become billable to the health plan and to the health systems. And you say, well, why would they do that? Because we all know going back into the hospital costs 10 times more than if you go in the first time. And these ambulances and the backups on these, and everybody's using the ED as a PCP right now. I mean, this is a nightmare right now. So I don't even know why I'm doing this. I could have retired. But anyway, what? Are you good? First, just a first blush, we're good to go, and you'll
Yeah,
work with us? Okay.
I think we need to get involved.
Wonderful, thank you. And that's what I'm here. I will update you, and I'll send it through on what that meeting on March 2nd, how that went. So I'm sure it's gonna go fine, but it's gonna move fast. I forgot to give you the most important data of all. UMass will have to give, they're gonna love working with us, because the sooner they get their piece in that says, this is how much we want of that 162 million, all of that has to be doled out and determined what's gonna happen with it by September 1st. So they are on the move. So if you can imagine yourself in an executive conference room, and they're like, oh, we have all these really great programs, we give you one, and then they're like, how do we work with the towns? They have no idea how to speak rural America. They have no clue. I've been at those conference tables. They do not. So they're like, oh, we could just do this. Yeah, okay, that's not gonna happen. So they are really motivated. We realize we're sitting with Bay State right beside us, who is just, you know, I'm telling you, they're pulling shit on Ware. That's all I gotta say about that right now. They are not being good with those folks. And Ware is, we're not including them in this right now because one of the benefits that UMass has right now is that Worcester line. Worcester County line to enable them to hit their little communities.
Yeah, UMass was owned Palmer at one point, but then swapped it to Bay State.
To Bay State, that's
yeah,
right.
It's a little too far.
So what I'm actually anticipating, is there this on?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm actually anticipating is that once they get this cluster done, they're gonna be able to look south to the rest of the rural communities south of us. And Harrington's obviously going to be a big help. And then the Berry Health Center is obviously going to be great because that's where they train physicians, by the way, for UMass. And then if you go up north and you look at what Athol, that one's really struggling. I would not be surprised to see UMass, hold their hand
Well, I
up
know
and say, can we help you?
UMass is building, it's like just an emergency room type setup up that way because one of the other.
I think those two are no predictions here, but the way healthcare works, I would not be surprised to see through this rural thing something happen there. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, well, because as I know, UMass took over Marlborough Hospital.
Yeah.
Trying to think who owns the one that's there is a hospital in Athol.
Yes, exactly. It's Hayward, but it's
Yeah.
super small and it's independent, and so I would not be surprised. I mean, Hayward's going to have a hard time on their own getting any of this rural transformation fund because you got to run it. I mean, that's not for the faint of heart. It takes a lot to do these things. So
Yeah, because I get emails all the time because I work for UMass, so.
there we go.
We see all the things, especially like we get the email updates.
Yeah.
Because breaking ground, and then when they took over Marlborough
Yeah,
last
they
year.
took over Marlboro, then they built that digital hub.
Yeah.
And for them, they really need to see that succeed. And this is a godsend for that. So, well, I thank you for your support. Obviously, we see a lot more of you if Monday goes well. I'm sure it will. But I really appreciate it. Look forward to it. And thanks for your support.
So do I.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. Thanks for getting me on the tally. And boy, that first one of yours, I was feeling bad for you guys. But you're dead. Bye.
Thank you.
All right, number 4, discussion vote to home and green burial application and fee.
I provided,
Green burial documentation.
yes,
Okay.
that was created by Bree through the FERC hub, training hub.
She said she had a couple other towns that were inquiring about them also, so she sat down with a couple other people with the state and kind of created the application.
Yeah, and then I went and did my own background reading on stuff and found out that, yes, there are regulations in place. You got the Green Burial Commission that's out there. You also have, who oversees everything, is the MADEP. They give the final, yes you can, no you can't. And it all depends on how you meet the process, answer the checklist items, or you meet the checklist items that are required to you. Okay. So like, home burial and green burial, they're kind of two different things, but
Yeah.
kind of the same. Green burials, you can have in cemeteries with sections set out for specific green burials, which means it's just an old pine box or something that will
Okay, yeah.
decay back to nature.
Correct.
Okay, there's no chemicals in the body, there's no embalming solution or anything like that. Your grave is a shallow grave, it's no deeper than 4 feet. The body has to stay buried underneath at least a minimum of 3.5 feet of soil. And it's gotta meet specifications of slope on the ground so that I believe they call it in this high flood situation, which are being updated right now. It will be the high water mark. And it also takes in consideration how close are you to setbacks from ponds, rivers, lakes, streams, vernal pools, stuff that have wells, private wells and things of that nature. All of that's taken into it, the geological evaluation of the ground and soil. Obviously, if it's a wet area, you're not gonna really put anybody in there. And the DEP has to approve all of this before anybody gets put in the ground.
Yeah, so on here for the end of breeze for the approval process, she has once the BOH agent has approved burial site, then if BOH and the Mass DEP approve, then a written approval will be sent to the applicant.
Right. And the final written approval will be coming from the DEP.
Yeah, copy of the site plan shall be filed, that's an addendum to the deed.
And the site, the burial plan has to include,
Yeah.
the documentation has to include detailed specific items on this, such as setbacks, identifying where a well is and what the setback
So
is
you're
on
gonna
a
get
well.
like a drawing.
Like a drawing, yes.
Yeah, so it says a local variance shall only be granted if all state, siting requirements are met. And all variances, it says like that they must, all variance requests shall be in writing and shall include which specific requirements the application is seeking variances of.
Yep. And you also have to look at the Massachusetts DEP water regulations. The Drinking Water Act comes into play. The water regulations come into play. Massachusetts Rivers Protection Act comes into play. So there's a lot of different regulations out there that have to be identified in this before they just say yes.
Thankfully, she broke it down too with all the state laws and
Yeah, I was
regulations.
gonna say, I'm looking at this, she's got all the,
Yeah.
all the regulations.
Yep.
And I'm assuming too, like, proposed property burial site is privately owned residential properties.
Right,
under
it has to
people
be maintained.
Control the decedent's family, I'm assuming that means it's, can't like have a mortgage on it, it's gotta be.
And it
all
also
pretty clear.
becomes, part of it is
Yeah.
also, it becomes a part of your deed. It's listed as a,
Mhm.
what do they call those,
Shall be filed at the
Okay.
registry of deeds.
huh?
An addendum to
Stabilization,
the deed.
No, there's a specific name for it that goes on to the deed.
Filed as an addendum to the deed
restriction, right?
for the property.
There's another name, I can't remember the name. But yeah, it's a restriction to the deed.
Yeah, it's
And it's noted in the, and it's also noted in the deed registrar book.
Yep.
Okay. So, it's not something that somebody would come in here and say, I wanna bury somebody here. Within the next week, it's not gonna happen. Okay, there's a whole process you have to go through. Most fees that I've seen out there, did she list the fee on here?
No, she left that up too.
Okay, most fees that I've seen out here are 75 up to 100. I haven't seen anything less.
Is that person still interested in doing this?
He hasn't reached back out again since.
I went out and looked at the property up on
Which
This
one?
is
Cutter
another,
Road.
this is another
That's
one.
the
It's a
electrician.
different, we have a different one also.
Yeah.
That was the first one, right? The
First one,
second
yeah.
one is.
Yeah, and I think the first one just wanted. to put, like,
Yeah, the first one
the
was
headstone.
said
Just
was
read it.
headstones.
Yeah,
Well, that's what it
On
said.
Memorial.
Yeah.
List,
That's what it said. It's just
Yeah.
gonna be headstones, not.
the next one though, I think wanted bodies.
Yes. And I think it's important to say Massachusetts does
What
not
about,
say no to it, but you have to jump through all hoops.
what
Yeah,
about
I
animals?
mean, I support it, cause, you know,
Yeah.
especially green burials, say, you know, cemeteries as great as they are, they, you know, take up a lot of space.
Yeah, it says that if the BOH agent denies the applicant's request for a home green burial, the BOH agent will document in writing the reasons for denial. The applicant may appeal the BOH's decision within 60 days to the Mass Department of Environmental Protection.
Well, what if they, or anything about pets or animals?
Pets cannot be
involved in this?
buried, you have to, there is a
So there's,
pet burial cemetery regulation.
Okay.
That's
So this
separate.
does not qualify anything,
That's separate to
no
this.
pets can
It's
be,
just the human body.
because some people might say they want it.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
other thing it stipulates is all, memorials have to be flat stones. No headstones that stick up out of the ground. And they have to be maintained, the place has to be maintained, it cannot be overgrown with weeds or anything like that. It has to be treated like a normal cemetery.
I mean, especially too where.
It's an encumbrance, that's the word I want, it's an encumbrance on the deed.
Where they have to get approval from both us and the state. It's kind of,
What were you thinking for the fee?
Hmm?
For a fee, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, with all the work that's gonna involve, I'm thinking about $100.
yeah.
Because there's gonna be a lot of legwork with it.
Yeah, because
They're gonna, and all, the other thing that has to be written into this is all costs are on the owner who wants to have this burial.
You
It's
wanna
not
go
on the
higher
town.
than 100?
I don't know, should we go higher than 100?
you said most you've seen were between 75
I
and
haven't seen
100.
anything over 100.
I would say 100 because it's not like we have to go out. It's not like a
Yeah,
park
they're
where we have to go
all-
out like a million times. You know what I
Just
mean?
let it go.
We just need to review,
Yeah, I'd be looking at possibly a site plan.
go out for
maybe.
check a site plan, a geological evaluation completed by a certified soil evaluator,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I'll
that'd be third party.
which I'll hopefully be in the spring. But
Yeah.
and then witnessed by a board of health agent. So it's not like we have to go out a
Right, but we
million.
have to cover the costs.
I would say 100 would probably. I wouldn't
I-
go lower than 100.
I was gonna say we could do it at 100 and, you know, first couple, kind of see how much time is involved. And, you know, if we're looking at,
Because clearly we haven't done one yet. So.
yeah, you know,
Or.
because
or you
obviously the
wanna
first
say
one or two might take us a while.
150? I don't know, the things are, that do that business quite a bit. and
I
it's
wouldn't-
pricey.
I wouldn't go above like 125, but that's just my opinion.
I don't know, why don't we start off at 100, see if we need to increase it?
That's what I mean, you know, first one or two. I mean, first one's probably gonna take the longest, because
Yeah.
we're just learning the process, but by the second one,
Yeah.
you know, it goes
Hopefully we don't
quicker.
get a million of these.
Right, I don't anticipate too many, but, you know, come the second one, we're realizing, yeah, we're putting a lot of effort into this.
Yeah.
Maybe
next time we look at fees, we should probably increase that one.
Right, and this would go on the fee schedule, the permit schedule as of what? Or when?
Well,
I can update it whenever you want.
yeah, I mean, we're gonna kind of go through all, that's.
No, what I'm trying to get at is, this isn't even an established program we've had yet.
So that's
Once we get it
first.
established, what is the timeline to get this on? as
I
a-
did do discussion and vote for a home green burial application and fee, so once you vote, and if you approve that application, I can add it to the fee schedule tomorrow, type of thing.
No.
Cause are you saying you want a regulation in place for this?
I think we need it. I
So,
think we need a step-by-step procedure for everybody to follow, and it should be part of the regulation.
Isn't the
And I think
basic
this
regulation-
also needs,
so,
what we also need to do before we even move on this, is we need to get planning and zoning involved, because it's gonna have implications.
so last I talked to them, they said the towns, I think, I can double check, the towns that already have this in place don't necessarily need a regulation, it's
Not
up
a
to you.
regulation, a bylaw.
Okay, yes, a bylaw, I thought you said a regulation.
I did, but
Okay.
that's what I mean.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm from a bigger community, so.
Okay.
what do they do with
A
bylaws?
bylaw, yes, and then I think we can take it from there, so I wouldn't put it on the agenda if we have to
Yes.
put it through zoning and.
I was gonna say,
planning
'cause I
and
think if it's gonna be added as a bylaw, that'd have to go with one of the town meetings,
Right.
where voters voted in.
It still has to go through the
And,
planning and zoning.
yeah, and selectmen.
Because certain areas of the property where these places, people want to put these burial plots, if it's not zoned correctly, it can't be done.
Yeah.
So I'll have 5 bylaws to give to the selectmen then, within the next month. We have the obstruction of sidewalk one, we have the right to farm bylaws, this one, the well, and the
So-
body art ones,
The what?
body art. So if we get it all together, I can send it out for next month.
Yeah, sir, what, I was gonna say, you just sent an email earlier, yesterday, today, about them opening warrants and stuff.
I didn't know if that had to start on a regular selectmen's meeting
Um,
first. I think that's what. you
yeah, I
said
think they
at the
usually
last one.
started on a regular selectmen's meeting. They usually like throw that in on the regular meetings and kinda keep going from there, cause it's what do you say, February 26th, open both warrants and move to close the annual town meeting warrant on April 16th. Special town meeting on May 21st. Any anticipated annual town meeting warrant articles submitted by March 20th. So,
We're gonna put together a bylaw.
So, yeah.
I think, I kinda like this.
I like the application.
But no one can use it
Until
until,
the bylaw is
yeah,
approved.
so we can adopt the
We
application.
can adopt
correct?
this tonight, yes. So we'll adopt the application, we make a motion to do that. So if you wanna make a motion,
I make a motion to adopt the home and green burials application as written.
do I have a second?
I'll second
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
that.
Motion made, motion carried. And then, so this is a.
But we had to make that fee too.
Do you need to vote on the fee?
Oh, yeah, we have to make a vote on the fee too, so, motion for the fee,
Make a motion to, have a application fee of $100 for home and green burials.
second,
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion made, motion carried for a fee of $100 for the application for a home in Green Burials.
But this is all stemming on, like, someone can't walk into the office tomorrow.
No,
No.
we don't have a policy in place yet. So, okay, where are we here? Health inspector updates.
So I have finished the body art and the well regulations. It took a while, but finally, the lawyer finally got back to me. Very, very minor edits. Again, the same thing with the may/shall language. He changed a couple things in there. So I just have to go through and just tidy it up a little bit, and then it should be done. So then I can send them to you guys and to Jessica. Those are all done. I have 4 trainings next month, just so you guys know. I'm doing like an MRC volunteer day. They basically talk about like resources, preparedness, response efforts in the community. I'm doing a Mass DEP MHOA seminar. Doing a day where they go over housing court, which I think will be really good for this town specifically. So we're going to be doing some housing court stuff on that day, and then totally Title V. Let's see what else. That food application that we received last month, been in communications with him regarding certain things. Mostly spec sheets didn't line up, and he kind of contradicted a few things he said in his application, so I'm going back and forth with that food plan review. Takes him a few business days to answer me back,
That's
so.
a Brugia or?
Arista.
Arista?
Yep, Arista. He's done nothing but cooperative in answering questions and clarifying questions that I have. So once he gets back to me the spec sheets, I think all my questions now finally after about a month will have been answered, and I'm gonna go in and do a pre-operational inspection for him. The next thing on our agenda next week, Jessica and I are gonna sit down and kind of go over all of our permit applications, because what we're trying to do is trying to get my 4 towns to kind of look similar with the permit applications. The food plan review, which I have redone and sent to Jess, needed a little bit of a help, so I went in and redid it just to kind of format more questions being answered on it. There wasn't a lot of room for questions. I would have to go, I had sheets of notes, questions after the first one, and now it kind of asks more, which gets more answers from them, and it helps me understand if they understand what they're doing. So now even for annual permits, we're gonna go in and redo all of our applications and just kind of get it a little cleaner and up to date. Yeah, I think that's all that I really have on my end.
Okay.
Was supposed to have housing court last week. I got emails you about that. Got canceled. The house got foreclosed on. One of the issues is they're doing building work on it now, so I forwarded that to the building department. Lawyer is going to be in contact with the new owners regarding it.
Is there a new one?
Bank,
Well, yeah, the bank can't do anything until they go through this.
and they have not.
Someone's left.
So there's that. I do have central court coming up soon for 28 Cottage. They're supposed to have everything cleaned up by this Saturday. Like every single thing on our list was supposed to be off the property. And I went by a couple days ago and there was still not. So I will.
And now it's all buried in snow.
You can still see the camper that was supposed to be removed 3 months ago though. So, yeah, I'll go take pictures. I think Monday I have a meeting with the lawyer to talk about our next steps because it was a contempt of court compliance was the last one. So we'll see where we stand, but probably take it further. So,
Okay.
I think that's it on my end. Comments, questions, concerns?
No, not for me.
Okay. I'll keep sending the monthly updates for you guys.
Yeah, I think you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, health, approval of minutes of 1/20/26 to 3/26.
So make a motion to approve the minutes from January 20th, 2026 and February 3rd, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion made, motion carried, minutes are approved. Any announcements? next meeting is up for grabs, I guess.
Again, if you guys want to do it without me, more than welcome. I just have a couple trainings that are all on Tuesdays.
Do we have anything hot on the agenda, Jess?
Nothing, the only thing that I would be adding is the regulations that, which she has, yeah, so. And the only other one is the tobacco ones that you guys would need to review,
Okay.
before moving the next steps forward. That's all I have as of right now.
So do we want to have a meeting in March?
Or do you wanna wait till April?
Yeah.
We can always set one up if the need occurs.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Why don't we temporarily schedule one? If it's necessary, we'll have it. If we don't need it, then we won't use it.
Okay.
I'll keep it the 17th.
Yeah, might as well keep it 17.
So you want me to set it next meeting, March 17th?
Next meeting scheduled
March.
tentatively March 17th.
And if you end up having it and you need anything from me, I can just send it to you ahead of time.
At what time? 4
Four.
p.m.? Okay.
If that's agreeable to everybody.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Perfect.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns or topics about anything? I have one question. What is this?
That is the tobacco sales application that Joan had recommended
Oh, okay.
we implement. So right now, our application for tobacco is literally just a sheet of paper stating your name, the business name, your contact information, and saying that you agree
Definitely
to.
moving forward, we need more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or we're gonna end up
yes.
this situation.
And that we require a DOR, that's it. This is much more in-depth.
Yep.
And I think more valuable to us.
Agreed. Okay.
So just
Alright.
change out the applications.
There are no other questions, concerns, or comments, then
Make a motion to adjourn.
motion second.
Second.